Today's episode of Ham Radio 2.0 is brought to you by Arden, the Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network. The Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network is an open-source project that brings emergency communications into the 21st century. With easily available commercial equipment, you can build a low-cost, high-speed network. Visit the Arden website at www.arden.org for more information. Arden branded equipment labels, embroidered patches, and apparel are available on the website by clicking on the Shop menu button.
Fine. Okay. Good deal. Hey, man.
Yeah. Hey, bud.
Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's we've talked about it since when Hamvention, so thank you for having me. Appreciate you bringing me in. Sorry about the mess.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And remind me of your. Gosh, dude, I can't remember your call sign because I've never actually talked to you on the air.
That's all right. I have a hard time with it sometimes myself. Yeah. It's K4CDN, Kilo 4 Charlie Delta November.
Okay, Kilo 4 Charlie Delta November. Okay. Yep. And you're in Foreland, so what state is that again?
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
The state of South Carolina.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I've been into Asheville a few times.
Okay.
That's a nice area.
It's 45 minutes to an hour north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
It's the mountains. I'm just south of that. We're not flat, but we're not the mountains like that.
Right, yeah.
They get all the snow. We just get ice.
Well, that sounds like Texas. We just
you never know where it is. It's just, there's a line there.
Right, we get a lot of ice up here for sure. Dadgum. That's pretty. We'll get snow about once every 5 years, but we get ice almost every year. So
never fails, and it's always when you don't want it to.
Oh yeah, of course. Cool, man. All right. Well, I just wanted to take a few minutes here. This is going to be very informal, like I do most of my stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm the informal geek, so you won't bother me at all.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So let me do my quote intro. So, thanks for watching. My name's Jason, KC5HWB. This is Ham Radio 2.0, and I've got Cale Nelson, K4CDN, from the HamRadio360 Podcast on today. Cale, the main we've been talking about it since Hamvention, like you said, but the main reason I reached out to you when I did is because I was at Richard at the main trading company at their shindig back about a month ago now, a month and a half. Yeah, it was in October. And Tammy had said to me, somebody's calling me, but I'm not going to answer it. Tammy had said to me that she thought that you were canceling your show. And Richard's like, oh yeah, I heard he wasn't going to do it anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Come on, I don't think that's right. So that's when I emailed you and you said you were taking a break until I think you said January originally. Yeah. And then
walk back in the first of the year.
Okay, but you posted something last week about holiday shopping.
Yeah. So it was our fourth annual shopping show.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that has been just immensely popular.
Okay.
As popular as it is, it's maybe not as popular as the APRS shows we did.
Oh.
But anyway, it's a huge deal. We do it every year. And this year, we brought in John Jacobs, W7DBO, to be a part of the show with his Field Radio podcast.
Okay.
So we wanted to have everybody together, and we just talked gear and, what would fit this scenario better, what would fit over here, and they wound up talking me into buying a 7100 from Richard on Black Friday.
Dude, I saw the prices he was posting on those things on Black Friday. I almost bought one. My wife would have shot me, but
Well, this is my very first brand new in a box HF radio ever.
Oh.
So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And granted, it's a 5-year-old radio, but
they still make them.
Yeah.
So but he had a screaming deal on that. I still want a 7300 is what I want, but that 7100 was a screaming deal he had on that day. But my goodness, that was fun to see. So okay.
Yeah. I'm still on vacation, but
right.
when I announced my vacation, it was with a caveat with John and Jeremy and George from the Workbench that we would do the shopping show. We didn't want to let that opportunity to go by because, it's our program, but there's a lot of good information in there.
Right.
Especially it's evergreen, so you can go back and listen, and we'll give you the ins and outs, the goods and bads. So it might be July that you're listening to it, but you want to buy something, and it may help you make a better informed decision.
Right. Yeah, because like you said, like the 7100's been around for 5 years, so it's still good information several months from now. So that's a good thing. Okay. All right. Well, tell us about tell the audience. You know, a lot of my audience listens to audio podcasts. Also, I get comments in my YouTube channel, and I get comments in my on my blog where I post all my videos at livefromthehamshack.tv. I have a listing there, and it says episode such and such all the way back to episode 1. And this should be episode 120 as when this posts. So
congratulations. That's a lot of work. People don't realize
the
amount of work that you just described. But I get it. It's a load.
Yeah. No, I know that you do. So when was the last time you actually put up an episode? And I know you're going to take a break and then start back in January. So tell everyone about that.
All right. So the last episode I released officially, non-shopping show, was in October, the very end of October.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I have to look it up. It was episode 87.
Okay.
Which had some weird connotations. It was right after Hurricane Irma. So whenever she happened, it was within like 2 weeks of her.
Okay.
And talked about that and how that affected us here in South Carolina in the upstate.
Right.
So my vacation began at that point, and it was just as a self-imposed break that I needed.
Right.
Just to get some. I've read 14 novels since that time already.
Oh man, I'm envious now. I'm envious.
A lot of people, wouldn't be interested in what I read, and that's okay. But I'm a big reader. I love reading, so that was one of the things I didn't have any time to read. Got a lot of responsibilities in my house with my kids and homeschool and whatever.
Sure.
So it was just, when you self-impose every other Tuesday deadline to have a quality product available, it wears on you after a while. So 3.5 years, almost 4 years, I said, I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
I need to reevaluate everything, and that's what it was. I did tell Richard, Christine, and Tammy at MTC, and of course thanked Elecraft for their support.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that I needed a break, and I'm working on some material now to come back with. And that'll be sometime in the first of the year. I'm not going to say January the 1st, but it'll be in the first of the year.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to that. I'll keep in contact with you about what to do. So you post every 2 weeks.
Yep. Every 2 weeks.
On Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's my day, and then the opposing Tuesday from my normal release show is the Workbench show that George and Jeremy do.
Right.
The week of my program is on Tuesday. I do the 360 show. That following Thursday, John Jacobs does the Field Radio podcast. So the reason we do it that way is because my show is generally about an hour, maybe a little more, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
John's show is normally 30 minutes to an hour. And then the Workbench is like 3/4 of a day. So we let them have a whole week to themselves because their shows are so heavy and so full of knowledge. We just don't want to over-inundate our audience. And, you kind of lose sight of where you are and you may miss one or something. So that's the reason we do it that way.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good idea. It seemed to work well for you that way.
Yeah.
So did the Workbench keep going while you took a break, or?
Yeah, they're still going. Okay. John's still going, and the Workbench did a shopping show as well, and their next show. Oh man, I've already got it loaded in the feed, and I can't remember what it is. But it was going to be an interesting. They're all interesting.
Yeah.
Some of it's way over my head. Some of it, I get the intro. I can understand that. Those guys on the Workbench get through the intro, and I'm maybe scratching my head.
I listened to the first 2 Workbench episodes, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've listened to any since then. And they talked about some stuff that I was like, okay, these guys are smarter than I am. So I don't. I can't follow. I follow maybe half of it. I just can't follow all of that because, they're definitely doing some high tech stuff on there for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like me listening to the Linux and the Ham Shack podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I listen to them because I like them, not because I understand what they're talking
right.
about.
Right, yeah. And see, I'm a Linux guy, and I don't know everything there is to know about Linux. Linux is pretty deep. But they start out and they start talking about, like, oh, I know what you're talking about. And then, like, 20 minutes later, I'm like, you guys lost me. I don't know.
I got to slow that down and listen to that again. So,
right, yeah. Cool, okay. So do you have any specific plans for next year, or where you want to go, specific subjects you want to dive into that you haven't done before, or something like that? Or what kind of outlook do you have over the next 12 months that you've had time to think about maybe a little bit over the last month or so since you took some time off? I want
to do things a lot differently than I've done them in the past.
Okay.
And that flies in really the relaunch, or whatever we're going to call it. I don't know if we'll call it anything except, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for sticking around. You may need to resubscribe in your iTunes, but I want it to be different. Without just spilling too many beans.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I don't anticipate an every other week release.
Okay.
And the reason for that is to take that self-imposed timeline away from myself personally, because I'm that guy who will let everything else go if I have that deadline to meet, and that's just not healthy in a house full of people that are all dependent on you. So, but with that said, I really anticipate doing not like the NPR shows, where you have theme music and sound effects.
Yeah.
But I would really like to dig deeper into any topic that I approach, meaning that I know I can't fit it all in 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
But if it takes me 4 30-minute segments, well, that's 4 30-minute episodes possibly. Now, I'm just theoretical here, but I'm thinking that it would be better to really get what you're trying to get out of the subject instead of just trying to cram it into an hour, hour and a half, and getting it out to get it out. I would rather really make sure that I'm real pleased with the end product.
Right.
And that the listener, the people who in the audience who are ingesting this, get their, in quotations here, money's worth or whatever. So
yeah.
that's really my goal, is to. I've always thought the show was good. I'm not saying that, but I want to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a different better. I don't know. I guess we're all going to have to see, because I'm really still not sure how this is going to work.
Okay.
So I guess we'll have to wait another month or so. But that's my goal, is to make it better, but it's going to be different better.
Sure. Okay. Well, I mean, there's always room for improvement somewhere, right? I mean, that's what I go back and watch my episodes. Even, I mean, I go back and watch my stuff I did a year ago, and I'm like, really? I put that out? But
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I got a squeaky seat. I got to buy a new seat because every stool I buy is squeaky. So that's one of the things I want to work on this year.
Okay.
So I want a seat that don't squeak. But honestly, not that I've told any lies so far, but my show, like you said earlier, I want it to be real and just as transparent as it can be. I'm not trying to put on any airs or impress a soul.
Right.
And that's my purpose in doing what I do, is to be me when I do it. And if you hear a squeaky seat, or when I had chickens, you'd hear my chickens. When I had my big Great Pyrenees, you'd hear him out there barking, or traffic, or even in the shopping show, we was having some crazy winds here, and but it is what it is. I live on a farm. I'm sitting in a barn.
Right.
And this is what I got. So,
oh yeah. Well, I'm actually in a barn right now myself. I've got a 10 by 15 quote unquote barn-shaped shed in my backyard that I had built for a totally different purpose several years back, and I don't know, about 5 years ago I decided it was basically a storage shed. And I decided that, most of the stuff in the storage shed I didn't really actually need. So I did a bunch of purging. Right. Yeah. So I did a bunch of purging, and I got rid of some stuff, and I thought, heck, it won't take much to enclose this place in and with insulation and sheetrock and paint it and make it look nice. So now I have an actual ham shack. So it's an my tagline is live from the ham shack. and I don't actually do it live, although I don't like script out my stuff, so I just kind of get in front of the microphone and talk. But I am actually in a shack right now. That's where I'm at. So it looks like a barn. It's blue. It's not red. It's not barn red, but I painted it blue. It's like a dark slate blue or something like that. But
cowboy blue, Dallas cowboy blue.
Yeah, it's not that deep. It's not that deep of a blue. It's a little bit lighter than that. But yeah, sort of like that, I guess. So, but yeah, so I know what you mean. And authenticity was always a big thing for me. You know, when I kind of first got started, I had some people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, can you review my product?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah, I'd love to review your product." Because that's how my show started out, was to do product reviews. And I've really kind of started to roll up into more an umbrella of just anything and everything amateur radio. And but I didn't want to do, you know, I told people, I was like, look, I'll review your product, and I'm sure your product's fine, but if I find something in there I don't like, I'm going to say that. And if I find a product that I just flat think is no good, I'm not going to put it on my show. I'll give it back to you. I'm not going to put it on there and say, "Hey, this product sucks, don't buy it."
Right.
I'm not going to do that to you. Now, I've never had a product where I've had to do that. Okay, so I should preemptive strike that right there. I've never had one.
Anybody gets any ideas?
Right, exactly. I've never had one that's just totally so lousy that I just went back to him and say, "No, you can have this back. I'm not reviewing this thing." But I've had 2 or 3 products that I was like, man, this is really cool stuff. And I'll get on there and I'll talk about it, and I've gotten, and now 95% of the comments I get are very positive, but I get people on there that tell me, "Oh, you know, they paid you to say that. No, you're not being realistic. You know, this I've tried this product myself. It's a piece of junk." I mean, you know, have you ever had anything like that happen to you? Or I mean,
well, not to that extent, maybe.
Okay.
And I've really tried to be, I guess, on the forward side of that, as hard as I could go.
Right.
I mean, because we've had sponsors since we started. You know, Christine and why did his name just let Richard? I say his name all the time. Richard, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, they sponsored my show before I'd ever recorded an episode, and then, you know, we've had Bridgecom Systems come on, Tanner Manchik, Elecraft was the latest sponsor of the 360 show, and with all those products, I was always pleased with what I had on hand, what I had to use. I mean, I had the Bridgecom 220 radio, the mobile, the handheld.
Yep.
My local club has a Bridgecom 220 repeater, works like a champ.
Awesome.
You know, to be able to say that, that's pretty cool, because they bought it because my recommendation, even before Bridgecom, even before I was even podcasting, I just saw the ad in the QST and I said, "Hey, there's a repeater right there." So anyway, the Elecraft stuff is just stupid, amazingly cool, awesome. And, you know, Richard and Christine, I did business with them as a ham before I asked them to sponsor me. So when I tell somebody, you need to call them, I mean, that I don't mean they're sending me a check. I mean, you really need to call them.
Right.
So going back to your question, I've not done a lot of reviews and whatnot, products in hand kind of a thing, just because there's folks like you that are doing that. So
right. Yeah.
It's covered. And, you know, with an audio podcast, I mean, I can give you an opinion, but to, like, show you where the button is and try to describe the screen, it's not my cup of tea anyway.
Right.
And I got to stop right here for a second. I just don't watch a lot of YouTube because of my geographical location. I don't have a really good internet connection at all. So my stuff is metered. And if I sit around and watch YouTube videos, well, then I can't afford the data to come up here and do a podcast phone call on Skype or whatever. So I've just never been a YouTube guy because of necessity. So the whole, you know, unboxing and review kind of stuff, I just never got there. But, you know, there's once or twice maybe it probably was unsaid, but maybe kind of wink, wink. We think that you're just pulling our leg because Richard wants you to buy this from him, or, you know, Elecraft sent you this free radio or something, which they did send me one, and I sent it back. It was a loaner. It was a great little kegs, too. It was amazing. But So, I get what you're saying, and I think that with the way YouTube works and how easy it is to comment right there below while they're watching the video, it makes it real easy for people just to pop off and say something, and they'll probably be mad that I just said they'll pop off and say something, but it's easier for them. With a podcast, you have to go to iTunes, you have to log in, you have to put a name in, all of that stuff, and to leave a comment. Now, you can get on Twitter and beat up somebody. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm about done with that anyway. But, I always worked really hard on what we're doing, what I'm doing here with 360 and Photime before it was 360. Mm-hmm. I want to be a good ambassador. And, it doesn't matter if you have 830,000 subscribers. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. If you have 25, that's cool. I'm not trying to compete with you or anybody else, and my attitude toward the whole thing is it's better when we're all in it together. Yes. So if we can all act like the gentlemen that we agreed, and gentle ladies, that we agreed to be when we became amateurs, and take that attitude forward, I think that not only does it help breed that attitude, goodness and wholeness and the hobby, I think it also it helps us keep our noses personally out of the dirt, so that we're not on down to that. So that's kind of been my whole thing, trying to do what I'm doing. I just try to stay above it. It's 5 kids. Yeah. I don't need any arguments in my life. So.
Well, that's one way to look at it. Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think my buddy Kenneth the other day posting about, an argument's not going to go good on Twitter when it starts with this or something, and I corrected him and said, well, the best thing to do is just not have an online argument, because you're not going to win it. Right. And, some guy in Texas and some guy in South Carolina arguing about something on the internet, that's going nowhere. Yeah. And I'm just not going to participate. I refuse to do it. So. Yeah. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. And there's so many good people out there making content. Right. It doesn't matter who it is or what they're making. There's going to be somebody that doesn't like you. Yes. And the YouTube, and even posting your stuff on QRZ, it's just real easy for people to, you'll get one person that doesn't like it, but you've had, 6,000 views of the thread, and you got 2 negative comments. Right, right. People that read it, watched it, whatever, liked it, they just didn't say anything. Right. But there's two lids over here that negatively comment on everybody's post. Yeah, so, yeah. Take it. Yeah. It's a grain of salt. Consider the source. Right. And just keep on moving. Well, and I get a lot of, like I said a minute ago, I get many more positive comments than I do negative, both on YouTube, and I think I think anymore you've got to sign in to comment on YouTube anymore. You used to see a bunch of these anonymous comments, and I haven't seen that in a long time. So I'm pretty sure people have to, YouTube is, I don't know if they're owned by or somehow associated with Google these days. So you basically have to sign into your Google account in order to comment on any YouTube video. And it's, I get, for every one negative comment I get on something, I probably get anywhere from 20 to 50 positive comments on it. So I'm not worried about it specifically. I'm just, the purpose of the... Yeah. The purpose of the question was not to talk about specifically negative comments. The purpose of the question was to talk about, because you talked about authenticity a minute ago, and you said, I was just basically wondering if you got any slack from people about comments specifically towards not being authentic because you've said something about something that you think a product you to believe in, or a person you believe in, or a company or something like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to get on the tangent there.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But going back to that final point there, no, I haven't. And I don't say that in like, hey, look at me kind of way, but, I hope that people know that, man, I am just who I am. And yeah, you go when you turn on Cale, you're going to get him. Mm-hmm. And, again, if I can't say anything nice, I'm just not going to go there kind of a thing. Yeah. And just leave it alone. Like the whole, I can talk about it now because it failed in the Senate, but the whole homeowners association, I'm going to make some people mad here, but parody. I don't mean, the parody thing. Yeah. Terrible idea. Thought it was the worst idea we've seen in a very long time regarding, and whatever, it's over with. Yeah. But I didn't open my mouth about it, and I was just going to let my silence speak for it because I didn't want to argue about it. I thought it was a bad idea. I don't agree with it. It's nothing personal to anybody, but I think that our liberties come before someone's desire to have an antenna in their yard, breaking a contract that they signed and agreed to. So
yeah,
I just, you know what, it's going to be better for me not to say anything.
Yeah.
So in regards to that was me being transparent by just staying out of the discussion.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. I was kind of in favor of the Parity Act originally, but then after they changed it up a bunch, and I just don't think it was written very well overall. I was kind of glad to see that it failed in the end myself, but even though the overall idea, I think, is a good idea, but they need to go at it from a different standpoint, I think. But that's not really what.
Hey, that's an hour and a half program.
That's right. Yeah. You know how many episodes Gary Pierce has done on Ham Radio now about ham radio parody?
There's no telling.
Holy cow.
Sure
there's a lot. Yeah. But no, I never thought about. When I first started, I used to watch a lot of YouTube, and Gary Pierce's show at Ham Radio now, I used to watch a lot. I still do watch it quite a bit. And when I started doing my video series, I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to send me a nasty email saying, you need to stop doing this because I'm doing this, or this kind of total the opposite. He is like the nicest dude in the world. And
there's a big swimming pool, man.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
When we think that we own the whole deep end, we're barking up the wrong tree.
Right. Exactly.
Nobody wins there.
Because even though he and I both do video and you do audio, none of us talk about exactly the same thing on exactly the same week, like ever. Yeah. It's just not possible.
Well, the hobby's too big.
Right, exactly.
Unless you have a script, there's no way. I'm still learning stuff that I didn't even know existed.
I know. Yeah.
Man, look around. I'm like, I thought I had a grip on it, but I'm still.
Yeah.
6-7 years into it, I'm like, really? Y'all do that too?
Yeah. Totally. Where's Ham Radio 360 gonna go as far as Ham Fests in 2018? Have you thought about that, decided that, or anything?
I tried to do the Shelby Ham Fest again, and no knock on the guys at Shelby. I understand, I know it's a big deal. But Ham Fests are hard especially for content creators. For me personally, I've noticed that a lot of people that come to Ham Fest don't know what a podcast is. And I'm not knocking anybody that comes to Ham Fest or you're older than me. I'm 44 almost, so I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
and matter of fact, we won't talk about that. I'm not even a big smartphone fan anymore, so I'm keeping it to listen to podcasts. That's the only reason. And I need a hotspot in the barn. But so you go to a Ham Fest and you set your stuff up. It costs you $200 to have a booth or whatever, and you got to drive there, and you got to drive back the next day or spend the night, and a lot of money involved in that. Like Hamvention, dude. When you've been there, Hamvention's it ain't cheap.
It's not cheap.
Anybody.
Nope.
So you look at all that, and the return on investment. I don't know. My thinking of all of this has been, let's see what happens when the new year starts, and then I'm pretty set in my schedule. I get up every day, cook breakfast for 5 kids, and we do our thing basically 7 days a week. And Mama's working, and if Mama's not working, then we don't have the groceries to cook that breakfast in the morning. So, a lot of guys get time off work, vacation, paid vacation. That don't exist here.
Yeah.
And my wife is self-employed, so Hamfest, I don't really know. And while I love going to them. At the same time, if I don't need anything, it's kind of hard to say, hey, the last Hamfest I went to, I was there for 57 minutes, saw all that I wanted to see, had spent $26 on some connectors and some power poles, and I was back in the car in less than an hour. I timed it, and I was shocked. And my youngest son was with me. He's like, Daddy, that's it. I'm like, yeah, that's it. And I hate it. I hate that it's that way because before I became a ham back in 98, 99, I went to the Shelby Hamfest, and Shelby, North Carolina is a very well-renowned hamfest and has been around for years.
I've heard of that one, and I've had several people tell me that I should go to that one, but I've never been. It's on my bucket list. I want to do it at least once, but.
So when I went in that 98, 99, it was stupid, man. I mean, this was basically before the internet.
Right.
There was just a little bit of internet out there. We didn't have it in our pockets, and we got catalogs in the mail, and man, I was just like blown away. I had no idea that this is what ham radio operators did.
Right.
And, that was, 17, 18 years ago now, or 19 maybe. And looking back, now going as a ham and even a content creator in the ham community, it's like a ghost of itself. And it's very sad. And it's nothing that anybody's done except we've changed. And, we don't get catalogs in the mail. Ham Radio Outlet doesn't pack up their store in Atlanta and drive 3.5 hours to set up and pay hotel rooms and overtime and hauling equipment back and forth anymore.
Right.
It's the internet. What did the TV kill the radio star?
Yeah.
The internet killed the ham radio.
That's right.
The ham fest.
That's right. Yeah.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's no fun, and it hurts your feelings. And you see these guys that have been going since I was in diapers.
Yeah.
And maybe now they're in diapers. I don't know. But I mean, this is like their highlight of the year, and you can just see every year the air being let out of the balloon, and it's heartbreaking. Right. And I think, how do you fix this? How do you find a resolution? I don't know. I'm not that guy. I'm not trying to figure out that problem.
Right.
But
right.
Don't stop going to HamFest. If you can, even if you can't go and there's one local, buy a ticket, and that keeps them going. I mean, I try to do that.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Big plans. I don't have any big plans right now for anything. It's a long way to get around to that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Now, I'm planning on going back to Orlando in February. My first time to go to Orlando was this year, 2017, and that's a long drive for me. I rode with some friends out there this year. It was about 16, 17 hours to get out there, and but that was a fun show. I really enjoyed that, and of course Dayton. Those are the two big ones. The one I'm going to get to go to this year that I've always wanted to go to and never been to before is Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
My family reunion is that weekend, and it has been for the last 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. Well, it changed. Next year, the family reunion's in June. They moved it. They move it around every 10 years or so. So I'm going to have an opportunity to go to Huntsville next August, and I'm looking forward to that one too. I may just fly out to that one. I haven't decided yet, but
yeah.
I kind of, you're right. I didn't think about the podcast thing. You used to say that a lot of people don't know what a podcast is. Pretty much everybody knows what YouTube is these days.
Exactly.
So I get a lot of people. I get a lot of exposure there of people either coming up, and most of the time, it's people that have seen me or said, "Oh yeah, I watched your show because to program this radio or whatever."
Right. I bought a 380 and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, something like that. So, but also, it gets me. Since it is all on the internet and it is very impersonable, at least they can see me, but I can't see them, type thing.
Right.
And I find that it's really good to go out there and kind of shake everyone's hand and say thank you for watching and that kind of thing. So I like that. But I didn't ever think about that about the podcast. That's probably a good point.
I didn't anticipate it, bro. Really, I didn't. I was like, you got a smartphone? Yeah, but you don't know what a podcast, huh?
Yeah.
And you can't, download apps for everybody and show them how to listen. It's just, it's a different thing.
It's a different thing, yeah.
Yeah. But there's a niche for everything.
Oh, yeah.
So,
for sure.
It works out.
For sure.
But I was really shocked. Now, Hamvention, we went 2 years in a row, 16 and 17.
Okay.
In Hera, and then in Xenia.
Xenia, yeah.
And I didn't run into that there much at all.
Okay.
But the other smaller local Hamfest,
yeah,
I run into that a lot. And
yeah.
It's like, wow, I'm sorry. It's like radio on your computer.
Right.
Well, I don't want to sit in front of my computer. No, you.
Yeah. No,
it's kind of a no-win. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm like you. I love meeting the people that listen.
Right.
And that you connect to, Twitter, Facebook kind of stuff, and I got friends now all over the country, all over the world, and I see them once a year in Hamvention. So
yes.
That's always cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and anymore, I go to a lot of the local stuff around here. I have the last few years, but anymore, I'm just kind of like, I think I'm going to focus on the bigger ones. We have 2 or 3 pretty good sized shows in Texas, and I'll go to those. And then as far as the ones that are out of the area, it's probably just going to be like Orlando and Hamvention. And, I might try to show up at Shelby one of these days, or I might try to go out to CPAC in Seattle area one of these days, but it won't be an every year thing. Like I try to make Dayton every year. It's not going to be like that. I just may hit all these other shows around the country maybe one time, but yeah, it's fun. I enjoy that. That's one of my favorite things to do. So
there's a lot to it. I mean, it's like with my family, we don't really do vacations, and for the last 2 years, Dad's kind of just left everybody for 3 to 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
To go to a ham fest.
Right.
And the kids are all looking like, well, when can we go do something?
Well, if there weren't 5 of you,
I haven't made any plans at all for anything this year coming. So we'll just have to see how it works out.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you at least. I hope to see you in May again at Xenia, but if not there also in February in Orlando, because I know that's
last year.
It's not too far for you.
It's 8 hours.
Oh, okay.
But last year I was in Orlando 2 weeks after. I think it was after Hamcation at the Podfest, the big podcasting.
Oh, right.
Where I was at. So
yeah, I
kind of just tatted that one. But I never think about going there.
Yeah.
To Florida. But I know John's been out a couple of years and enjoyed it. So it's a great show, I hear.
Yeah. No, it is. It's probably the biggest show I've ever been to next to Dayton, and it's got a layout like Xenia does with the camping trailers in the back and all the stuff up front. It was much at the time when I went to it, which was before Hamvention had moved to Xenia, because it happened in February, right? So Orlando is in February, and I went to it, and I'm like, man, this is a really nice layout. And then Xenia came around and is like, oh, well, this is really kind of close to the same thing. Yeah. So it was much very, very similar to the type of just how they had everything laid out with the camping and the outdoor flea market and all that kind of good stuff. So. But it was fun. I really like both of those shows, so I'm hoping to get to go to each one every year. But we'll see what that brings. I can't promise that.
Patrons, he's talking to you. He needs your help to get there.
Right.
So if you want Jason to go, put some money in the cup or
that's right. Yeah.
And help him get there. It takes that, guys.
It does.
Creating this content is not easy. Having the equipment to create the content is expensive.
Right.
Taking the time away from your family to sit down and mash these videos together, create a quality product, and put it out for the listener or the viewer or both takes a lot of time, and that's time that we don't get paid for. There's not like a clock punch here, and I'm going to get a check at the end of the week. So it really takes this is not where Jason was going, but I'm just coming out. I don't know, preach a little bit, but it's not cheap, and it takes help from everybody, whether you have show sponsors or not. I mean, they help. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But it takes a lot to do what you, myself, Gary, George, and Jeremy, John, Christian, Curtis. I'm gonna leave somebody off. Sorry, but I just named some random creators there. So it takes money. And my new ICOM 7100 that I bought, I paid the same price everybody else did. Right. And it's a great deal. And it was supposed to be here today, and I was so excited I was going to hold it and show it to you. Thank you, UPS. It's been delayed. One day I'll have it tomorrow. But I'm so excited.
Yeah. I hope you get it tomorrow then. That's fun times, man.
It's sometimes it's weird for us to come on our shows and talk about needing help.
Right.
It's not that we need the money so we can go to Aldi and buy a can of corn so our family don't starve.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's
I got 5 kids. It does get expensive at times, but still, having the ability to have some help. You call it help, you call it support, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's it. $1 a month really helps. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
$1 a month really help. So
yeah.
If you guys enjoy what Jason does, click the button wherever he's got it and help him out, because it takes that. It really does.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
QRZ, just send me something on mine.
There you go.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding, y'all.
It's always good. Always good. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you taking time out. I know you've got a lot going right now, and you were taking the month off from podcasting, so... but
video casting, this is something I never do.
There you go. Yeah, awesome. So yeah, but I definitely wanted to catch you. I thought this would be a good opportunity, like I said, because you had some lag time in between there. So just wanted to give everyone an update and let you know that you're still planning on relaunching or whatever you want to call it. First part of the year.
Decided what we're going to call it. It's going to be cool, whatever it is.
Yeah.
As cool as Cale can be. I mean, I'm a little overweight and bald-headed, not as awesome as I once thought I was, but
right.
I still have a desire to do it and to share it with our listeners, our audiences. That of course we share, and we that we all do this stuff. So I'm excited to come back, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be different, and I think what I'm going to do is do a return show, just to kind of give you a heads up. I'm going to do a return show where we talk about the new rules of the new show, and then following that, I'm going to start dumping content out again. So
okay,
I got some stuff lined up, man. I'm really excited. There's some stuff that's so freaking deep and so technical, I don't even really need to try to talk about it. But I think because it's that way, there's so many people out there who aren't so super technical that they need Cale to help them understand, as Cale's learning to understand about the whatever. That I think it's going to be fun to learn together. So I am stoked about some of the stuff that I'm going to be able to connect people with. So, and I appreciate you having me on, man. It's great to catch you again. And of course, the face made for radio here on video. But thank you for checking in, and for everyone listening. Appreciate you guys being there. We really enjoy doing this. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely fun.
This is like a chore. Sometimes it can be a chore.
It can be a chore, and it is a lot of work, and it's expensive, like you said, but it's also quite. It's fun, and it's rewarding. It can be rewarding on the back end for sure. Absolutely. So yeah. Absolutely. All right, Cale. Hey man, you have a good evening. I'll let you get back to your family out there on the farm. So so keep me posted, and I'll be happy to put a blurb about it in an episode somewhere around the first of the year, saying, hey, the relaunch episode's been set for this date, whatever date you decide to do it, and we'll keep the viewers and listeners informed that way.
Awesome, dude. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, and Merry Christmas. I can say that, right? I mean, Christmas.
You can on my show. Yeah, I say Merry Christmas all the time.
Christmas.
Yeah, I said it a lot on. I said, you know what? I don't care if it's my show. Yeah. I don't care if it offends you. Merry Christmas. I said that last year, and my viewer content has been going up ever since then. So I must have done something right. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we said when I was a kid, and I'm still kind of a kid at heart. So.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's what my wife tells me I am too. So, but all right, man.
Well, enjoyed it, man. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate
yes, sir. All right, you have a good one. We'll catch you next time.
All right, man. 73.
All right, bye. Well, a special thanks to Cale Nelson, K4CDN from HamRadio360 for spending 45 minutes or so with us on live from the hamshack.tv. This type of content, man, I'm glad that I was able to get something like this going. It seems like I've been focusing so much of my time on DMR over the last 2 or 3 months that I haven't really done much else. There's been a lot of new DMR products come on the scene, and a lot of new features and a lot of new questions, and I get a lot of emails about DMR. It seems like that's all I do sometimes. And that's okay, because I love DMR. It's one of my favorite things in amateur radio right now. But Ham Radio 2.0, this show is not only about DMR. It's not called DMR Radio 2.0. So I definitely want to do some other stuff, other aspects of the hobby. Like Cale said, there's a bunch of stuff out there. It's a very wide-ranging hobby, and there's a lot of stuff to it. So catch HamRadio360 podcast on iTunes. and visit their website, HamRadio360.com. And I'm sure he'll make an announcement sometime after the first year about when he's going to do his relaunch episode, whatever he deems to call it. So 73, guys, thank you for watching. Hit me up on my website, livefromthehamshack.tv. You can scroll down and see all the episodes I've done. You can see what I'm planning on coming up next. You can click on the right-hand column over there. This is my right. This is your left. You can click on the Patreon link or the PayPal link and support me in the endeavors to make this video podcast series possible. 73, and we'll see you next Monday.
This has been Ham Radio 2.0, a YouTube production by KC5HWB. Visit our website at www.livefromthehamshack.tv. Please also stop by our Facebook page at fb.me/hamradio2. Be sure and subscribe here on YouTube to keep up with all the new videos that are posted nearly every Monday. 73s, everyone, and thanks for watching.